refused to give up. I got kicked out the shelter and had 48 hours to move. And when I share my story, so many people assume the worst. Some people thought I was the problem. Some thought I just wanted money, and some thought I just did it for views. But they don't see a reality of a single mom trying to survive and give her child a better life. Right now, I'm currently in a Tier 1 shelter, and Tier 1 shelters last usually 4 to 6 months. Tier 1 shelter is basically just to help you get on your feet. And I did everything I was supposed to do. I found housing. I found us an apartment, but instead of letting me stay here until moving, they're forcing me into a Tier 2 shelter, which is usually for people who don't have housing yet. So this means I will have to move twice in less than 30 days, pack everything and move my child into a place that's not really home, only to repack and move everything all over again. It's exhausting, it's overwhelming, and it feels unfair. But through the tears and through all the judgment, I still hold on to faith. I remind myself this is only temporary. God didn't bring me this far just to leave me here. And no matter what people say, I know my heart. I know my fight. So yes, today hurts, but tomorrow holds the blessing I prayed for. Stability, peace, and a safe home for me and my son. And no matter how heavy it gets, I refuse to give up.
Hold on, I gotta address something real quick. Cause this comment says, this system has to do better. Praying for a better tomorrow. You're amazing, mommy. You're almost there. I'm really just addressing the system has to do better part. She said they got tiers to the shelter. Tiers to the shelter. So think about this. She said to be in a Tier 1 shelter, which is what she's in now, you have 4 to 6 months. This is when you get to the shelter part. And then I'm thinking that you're going to end up homeless, but you just have to go move to a Tier 2. Here's the thing. Allegedly, I don't think she has a job. So I get that it's a little inconveniencing to have to move your stuff from one location to another. I can understand, especially when you're going to have to move again. But I kind of feel like, again, beggars can't be choosers. So there's worse things. You're still going to have shelter. That needs to be the priority. Because at the end of the day, nothing is you're not entitled to anything. You're not entitled to people, or not people, but to other people having to make up for your shortcomings, your mistakes. Because at the end of the day, is anybody going to feel bad for me if I can't take care of myself? And let's say I'm just a grown man, I don't have no kids, nothing, and I just can't take care of myself. Is anybody going to feel bad for me, or are people going to be like, well, it's just you, take care of yourself? Okay. Right. So same thing would apply, I would hope, if she was single by herself. But she's not. She decided to have kids. Keyword decided. So you started off life with a fair shot, is what I'm saying. You weren't forcibly impregnated. So therefore, you started with a fair shot. You could have just been working it out on your own and figuring it out the conventional way as far as getting yourself together before you start taking on more. You decide to take on more earlier. So again, I don't understand how the system has to do better. It sounds like the system is taking care of her just fine. I'm assuming when she moves into her apartment, it's going to be a subsidized apartment, a Section 8 apartment. So I think the system is I think the system's been doing a little bit too good for too long, because the system has been doing its job so well that people are dependent on it now, and they don't even want to do anything for themselves. The only thing they'll do for themselves a lot of times is just make their situation harder. And that's what we see. You'll see people on these programs, and then they'll be having more kids on the program. So, but y'all, before we get back into it though, if you could like the video, greatly appreciate it. It only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And literally just a click. So if you're here anyway, you might as well click that like button. And also, if you can hype the video as well. The caption says tenant got evicted and left everything. Yep, they left everything all right.
I promised that the previous update would be a quick update, so I'm going to try to make this one quick. I woke up today to text messages from the owner of
Her caption says update on the eviction. Notice to vacate.
I promised that the previous update would be a quick update, so I'm going to try to make this one quick. I woke up today to text messages from the owner of the property. He would be starting the process of eviction because he hasn't gotten rent. Then saw my email. There were emails between the landlord and someone from Eden that doesn't work with me. They came to an understanding, from what I could tell, that things would be starting to get resolved. Then got a knock on the door. It was someone who works with management. Here, baby, eat, eat, eat. They had in their hand the lease for next year and told me I had to sign it. And then I said I couldn't do that because I'm still working out whether I'm getting help for next year. And she said, okay, here's this. She handed me a 3-day notice to vacate. I said, wait, it's the 6th, and my lease is from December 6th, 2024 till December 6th, 2025. It's only November 6th. Isn't there like a grace period that rent should be paid within a few days and then there would be a late fee? She said all units have rent due on the 1st. And I get that most leases begin on the 1st. Mine did not. So I just disagreed with her on that. And the landlord was going to be working out a solution with Eden. She said, if they do, then that's good. But the landlord told me to give you this. So she handed that to me. I then called my Eden worker and he said, you probably should not vacate. I'll work on this. He said Eden should be paying rent within the next couple of days. And I'm just that's the update, I guess.
Well, from my understanding, the notice to vacate is just the first step. So if you're planning on paying it in full, mind you, then you should be fine if it's going to get paid. But see, people will say things like how you're saying. We have to learn to look past our own selves. Ma'am, maybe you're an upright, honest person who has every intention of making sure that they get what they need to get. All right. But there's a lot of other people who just say things and then don't actually come through with what they're supposed to do. And so they have to take the first step so that if you don't do what you said you were going to do when you were going to do it, then they don't have to then do that first step again. Now they can go ahead and move on to the next step, which then it'll be taking you to court. And the first thing that they're going to ask in court is, well, did you give them the notice and all this type of stuff? So it's just a step that they have to take. And if everything's going to go through like you said it's going to go through, then you should be fine. But what I'll also say is don't let this happen too often either. Don't let this happen too often because it's almost like because what some people like to do is they like to take an inch so that they can take a mile. And so they'll they'll basically do it, right? And then if they see that you take an action quickly in response, then all of a sudden they're like, okay, I'm not going to be able to get over on them. But some people, if they see that you
Guys,
don't take an action quick in response, then they'll continue to just stretch it out, and then they'll go months over months without paying what they're supposed to pay. All right. So let's get to the next clip.
Guys, so I found a hotel that would let me stay there week to week instead of hopping around and stuff like that.
All right. She didn't have a caption, but the description says sharing my journey of being homeless, living in hotels. So that's basically what she's doing, sharing her personal experiences of navigating homelessness. And basically, I guess she's trying to rebuild her life.
So I'm gonna go pay my due. Where are my glasses? I'm always looking for these glasses, but I'm gonna go pay the rent and we're gonna move in there tomorrow. And I'm sharing my journey about being homeless and the journey of having to live in hotels and the journey of not having family to depend on or not having people to really, help you. And they don't have to. I'm not saying that they have to, but I'm just sharing my journey and I'm not embarrassed. I'm not afraid. I am afraid, but I'm not scared. The journey to me getting back into society as far as finding me an apartment. And I know it's like, how you gonna find an apartment when you can barely pay the bills in your hotel room, right? I know. God's gonna supply, honey. God gonna supply. God is gonna move things. So
See, these are the dilemmas that you could run into based off of the way things are structured, right? There are some business owners that can't get apartments. And when I say can't get apartments, I mean because they don't have W-2s, pay stubs to show. Sometimes they can't get apartments. Now, I think some have been changing it to where they'll just literally instead use like you can do pay stubs or you can do certain new apps that they have now where they can actually look into your bank account and go in there and estimate what your wages are based off your statements and what gets deposited in there. So that could help as far as income verification. But you got to worry about things like income verification. You got to worry about things like actually, like she would have to have consistent income in there, as well as not having derogatory marks on your record in the form of evictions and all that type of stuff. It's just sometimes people could be homeless for other reasons, which it sucks. Shoot, I mean, think about it. You could go out you could travel abroad for a year and come back into the U.S. and now you don't got nothing really to show for a year, and then you may not be able to get an apartment, and it can kind of be a slippery slope. So I don't know if that's her situation because what it does appear, I don't see a child seat in the back or nothing. It seems like she might not have kids. So I guess I'm just trying to wrap my head around why she could be homeless and if there may be something else to it.
of having to live in hotels and the journey of not having family to depend on or not having people to really, help you. And they don't have to. I'm not saying that they have to, but I'm just sharing my journey and I'm not embarrassed. I'm not afraid. I am afraid, but I'm not scared.
Let's talk. I know bills is high as shit. I know you may be a single parent. I know that you may be married and your husband's sick or you sick or whoever taking care of the bills. Or I understand that both of y'all incomes is not enough. I understand that you probably could have been a domestic violence survivor, whatever is going on. I'm not here to judge you because I don't care. But let me educate y'all. Right? If you are facing eviction, before those sheriffs come knock on your door or whatever else, or even before that court date come up, call you a bankruptcy lawyer. They can help you, especially if that debt is $35,000 and up. Filing bankruptcy can prolong it up to 2 years, you guys.
Why would your why would your rent balance debt be 35,000 and up? And up? See, and this is where it starts to get egregious. Really? Just go file bankruptcy like it's nothing. And then somebody put in here, her name's Ari, in the comments. She said, literally just did this. And then the creator responded, this person, she responded, filed bankruptcy or got your report? She said she filed Chapter 13, literally paid $300, filed it the night before court. So that's a stalling tactic. Filed it the night before court to stop the eviction. But now you're going to have this thing on your record. You did it to buy yourself a little bit more time, just a little bit. And Chapter 13, keep in mind, some people look at bankruptcy, they're just like, okay, you just get to wipe everything away, away all your debt. Nope. When you file Chapter 13, that's just a payment plan. So you're going to get the bankruptcy on your record. It doesn't stay on there as long as a Chapter 7, but you still have to pay that back regardless. So literally the only intent behind that is just stalling.
Filing bankruptcy can prolong it up to 2 years, you guys. Yes, it can. Educate yourself, contact your local nearest bankruptcy lawyer. That is it. I'm not going to answer no more questions on that, okay? Because when I tell y'all something, whew, I'm going back and forth. Now this, if you already been evicted, right? And you trying to see what you're going to do, get your annual housing report. You get one annual housing report every 12 months. And yes, it is free. It's not going to cost you. From here, request your report, dispute it. If you need to hire me.
Somebody asked, what if you've gone through the eviction? Will the bankruptcy stop it from going on your record? And the creator responded, yes. She's positioning herself as the expert. I would think that it would still go on your record, though. But she said it will stop it. So if you've gone through the eviction already, you're saying the bankruptcy will stop the eviction from going on your record? So what this sounds like is this somebody trying to buy some more time, and then they don't want the eviction to go on their record so that they can go and try to secure another location. As the bankruptcy stalling starts to elapse, they're going to want to still have the flexibility to be able to go and secure that next location and probably just stay there for a long time. See how people will start trying to strategize so much.
Request your report, dispute it. If you need to hire me, inbox me and we'll go from there.
To the man who fired that single mother for being 12 minutes late, now she's sleeping in her car in the cold. Well done. Well done. What the hell you mean?
You know, when you do clickbaity stuff like this, I should really just let it ride. I should just move on to the next clip and just let this be your permanent internet record. What am I talking about?
To the man who fired that single mother for being 12 minutes late, now she's sleeping in her car in the cold. Well done. Well done.
End of story. End of story. Yep, let's let that be her reputation. You got to be careful when you're framing stuff in certain ways for clickbait reasons. Some people may not watch it the whole way through. And so they're just going to be like, what did she just say? Obviously, there's more to this. But when you frame things and preface things like that, listen, man, especially when you start to get behind these analytics, you start to learn people don't watch things fully. People don't watch things all the way through in average. You make a 10-minute video, most people ain't going to watch the whole 10 minutes. You're not going to have 100% watch time. So framing stuff like this is kind of dangerous, but let's get into it.
Well done. What the hell you mean, well done? turns out recently she just started coming in late, and so the last straw for him was when she came in 12 minutes late. He didn't ask no question. He just called her into the office, and baby, you are fired. Sign on the dotted line. You can see right here on the document that you previously signed in bold that lateness will not be tolerated, honey, and she got to go. So a few days later, it turns out that the manager who fired her was in the break room and was talking with two of the other guys there, and they were like asking for like, where is she? And turns out that she was going through a lot in terms of her complex that she lived in. There was new developers, and they gave her 30-day eviction notice. Oh my god. And so her son and her have been living on the street, and so she's been fighting for their lives, trying to get them bathed, food, warmness, because it's cold. And so the day when she came in 12 minutes late, she was actually at the gym trying to get washed up, her and her child, when the gym people kicked them out before they were even finished getting ready. And so she ended up being late. And what he did was...
Here's the thing, though. Did she say that he gave her multiple warnings to stop being late? Because if you got warnings to stop being late, and you know that you need this job bad, I mean, she lost her job and then she ended up homeless. So if you know that's your situation, you got to get there on time. That's got to become the focal point and the priority. Get to work on time. At least for a sustained period of time for things to kind of blow over. And then you can show up late every once in a while again if you need to. But that then means you need to wake up a lot earlier and get there. You need to get there. Otherwise, if it's just something within your life to where it forces you to have to be showing up late, you either need to articulate that a little bit clearer and explain that, or you may need to find another job that fits better within your life, the way that it's set up. I understand a lot of people have logistics they got to try to operate through because they got kids. Maybe the daycare don't open up at a certain time, whatever. You chose those logistics, as well as you got to explain that or find something better that fits that.
And what he did was remarkable. He actually went out and was trying to find her, went to the gym that the guys told him about, went to different locations, was trying to find her, only for him to be in a Walmart parking lot and noticed her car, and went up to the car and saw that there were like a lot of blankets in the car. Spoke to her, saw that her son was in the back. The car wasn't on. She said that they've been in the car for an hour. It's cold. She has no gas. He gave her $300. They were able to get a hotel for a few days and buy food with the $300, put gas in the car. And that day he went and he spoke with HR and actually initiated an employee assistance program to help her and her son. And baby, she came to work. She was on time. And it was just the most wonderful story I've heard since 2026 on this damn app. And I just want to say kudos to him for doing what he did. And just leaders like that is what you want in this world, to have a manager that actually cared outside of his own like policies, went out there to make new policies to take care of his employees. Wow. Kindness. Like Ellen DeGeneres would always say, be kind to one another.
So what that revealed to me is that he did not know about her situation. So she didn't explain, hey, this is what's going on. And so that's why they weren't being flexible. It seems like he would have been flexible, but for whatever reason, she didn't want to disclose that. Her rationale for being late and just her living situation. Listen, I still don't get it. I still don't get it. It's like people just taking on things that they just cannot handle. You got to have self-awareness. You got to know yourself. Are you somebody who is good under pressure? Are you somebody that typically in situations looks for other people to come and save you? Typically in situations looks for other people to come and save you, other people to come and save the day. You have to know yourself. Are you that type of person? Okay, you are. Why then are you making yourself the main person who's got to be responsible for taking care of you and dependence? And you're being single with them. That's why we have to understand. You don't even like having to be the person that has to save the day, that has to fix the problem. So why take on more overhead when you barely even operate like that and solve your own problems? I don't get it. Kids are going to come with a whole heap of problems. So why have them, and at the very least not have them in the context of where you have someone else to lean on, or just don't have them at all until you've built up such a strong foundation that no emergencies can really touch you like that. No regular type of emergencies, like losing your job and all this type of stuff. Having kids when just losing your job is going to make it to where you have no income coming in and you have no savings.
So this is a vulnerable post for me to share, but I think that it's important because it's easy to look at people who you think are successful and kind of think, oh, easy for them.
It looks like this video is longer than what I was expecting. So we'll just leave it there for today. Y'all, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video, hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I'm a smaller creator, a smaller channel, we actually get more points per hype. And hype was designed for smaller channels, so that's why. But if you come across a video and you don't see the hype button, then it's probably been over 7 days. And hype usually vanishes after 7 days. So it's usually best practice if you want to hype to just go ahead and hype while the iron is hot on a newer video. And also, if you want to become a member of the channel as well, the join button's on the video. And what becoming a member of the DXU family will come with is you would get badges next to your comments where it shows people that you are a member whenever you leave a comment, as well as you would get early access to content and also exclusive content that's not available for everyone else on YouTube. So again, if you want to become a member, the join button's on the video. But until then, I'll see you in the next video.